World Championship between um, so the teams are jkidjjr at GoGoBurritos versus Caspiwins and Puressence, and we should be starting in a minute or two. We were waiting for jkidjjr to show up, but I believe he is online, so we should be starting shortly. Let me see if he's in a voice call with his partner. He is. So I am going to go ahead and start the prediction market. If people want to bet channel points, that will be open for 10 minutes. You can bet as many channel points as you want on one team or the other. Blitz Bullet in the Discord is saying, challenge us for when ready. Best of luck, Caspi and Puressence. So,
hello, my name is Midnight Fox, and I'm very much looking forward to this match because I think we're going to see a clash of styles today where one team, jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos, will be faster, and Caspiwins and Puressence will be the slower team. But even if you're the slower team, if you play good moves and get the attack and make your opponents, you can still win. So it will be a very interesting match today.
So what we've seen previously, which probably will hold true today also, is that Puressence is a very good attacker. So to the extent that Puressence can get a lot of piece flow, I think his team will do well. But if Puressence is starved of pieces, then I think it will not go their way. So we'll see how Caspi can help his partner. So there was an immediate resignation, so we're going to have to remember that in the scoring because I think they are setting up. I need to make sure that they are in live chess. Okay, so it is the jkidjjr team that has resigned the first game. The GoGoBurritos can fix his board.
And also, we will see a battle of generations here because I think Caspiwins and Puressence, who are from Israel, is both of them are a bit older than the other two, is my guess.
They are, yes. And I've played with Caspi Israel at the Berlin Gathering. Was he at any of the Berlin Gatherings that you went to?
No, he wasn't when I went there.
Okay.
Puressence sacking on f7 almost immediately.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of that, but I don't think it's necessarily going to work for him. If jkidjjr can control the flow, and GoGoBurritos, this is a good move. It checks and it also defends the king on f7. So now he has an extra defender on the board. This bishop on f2 is somewhat poisoned. Puressence will be attacked a lot if he takes it. Okay, so the bishop defends f7. We're going to see the knight sack probably. So now GoGoBurritos is picking up a piece there. Maybe knight at h6, or he could take the queen. But Puressence actually is in some trouble here. He may have to go on the defense. And if he does go on the defense, then king takes knight is a possibility. So the time is actually relatively close. Puressence defending a little bit here. GoGoBurritos just has a few extra pieces to put some added pressure. We see the same bishop move that attacks and defends. This queen on d8 is guarded, so he can afford to take one of these. GoGoBurritos can afford to take one of these pawns. On the jkidjjr board, a queen would mate for jkidjjr, so Puressence has to watch out for giving the queen right now, which puts some pressure on him. We could see pawn push. I like pawn push a little better, putting pressure on the queen. jkidjjr is now defending, and he's forming a pawn wall.
Burritos have a good attack now. It's probably mating here.
Yes, it is definitely mating. Bishop inmates. So the score is now 1-0, favoring jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos. Puressence is getting down a bunch of time here. Not sure why he sat there.
I think one of the themes of the Israeli team's matches has been that their internet connections are simply not as good.
That's true.
As some of the other teams.
I don't think it's necessarily their internet connections so much as lag caused by being further away from the chess.com servers.
Their connection to chess.com, I should have said, yes.
Yes.
And maybe recognizing that, it looks like Pure hasn't sacked on f2 as readily as he might have otherwise.
This is a good example. If Puressence had a pawn here, pawn at g2 would be very strong. And then if rook g1, then knight to f3, it would just win a lot of stuff. But now, if knight f3, king f1, he would still at least need maybe 2 pawns to but it's to get a strong attack. But it's still a strong attack, but it would be crushing if he had that pawn.
Time is fairly close. A pawn is still crushing, so that was a series of moves that made a pawn still crushing. Now Puressence is up maybe 1 second. So I think he will probably wait for the pawn. If he doesn't wait for the pawn, then queen to d1 is a possibility. But the pawn is so crushing here, I think he should wait for it.
jkid does have a knight spite, but I believe only one.
It's a bit tricky because if queen d1, queen e1 is also a check.
That's true. Okay. It's surprising he didn't wait, but I guess they must fear the time scramble.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. Oh, he could mate there with well, Puressence had mate, but it went too quick. And now he's getting mated probably. Yeah.
Yep. So our score is now 2-0, favoring jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos. But that game was a lot closer than the first one.
Despite Pure's forced sit on move 2.
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't sat on move 2, it might have gone the other direction. Although the game might have gone differently from then, knowing that the time was closer. But yeah, a pawn was quite crushing.
And jkidjjr is over 3,000 now. I think it's quite clear that he is one of the 4 best players, and probably maybe the only 4 players who have had over 3,000 in rating. The other 2 being 12-10 and Chicken Crossroad, who we has watched, and a player called Katask, who is not playing this tournament.
Yes. Not only that, I think jkid may have achieved 3,000 on more than one account. He does have several accounts. jkidjjr is up about 4 or 5 seconds now. That is a lot to make up. It means like an immense amount of pressure. Because Puressence cannot sit for pieces, and GoGoBurritos could sit for pieces.
Do you know if jkidjjr has done modeling work? Because he on his Instagram account he has over 7,000 followers. So
I don't know the answer to that. I think probably not, but I think he has a big network from school. So
is Burritos going to sit for? What is Burritos sitting for here?
Sitting for knight.
He wants a knight for h6, yeah.
Oh.
Or a queen, but a knight would be the best. And he's probably getting one because they are quite a lot.
The back plan is just taking h5. Probably just waiting until the other team's low.
Okay, well, he didn't play mate in 1, which was odd. Queen at h2 was mate, but he was
He played the other
laser
one.
focused on the knight.
Mate in 1 on the other board is still mate in 1.
Yep. Our score is now 3-0, favoring GoGoBurritos and JK Jr. And Puressence is going back to his stack strategy.
And that's a typical example where it's so important to use voice communication, because he would have mated there with the knight Puressence, but because they're an experienced player, they knew how to sit to not give the knight.
Aren't they both in a call?
Yeah, definitely. Both teams are in a phone call.
Goes mating.
Yeah, Puressence cannot live to this. It's mate in 1.
It was a very strong bishop to have. I think it's fair to say that JKid and Gogo are the best and third best players from these 4.
Yeah.
Yes, and this opening that JK Jr. is playing, where it plays d4, g3, h3, and this kind of setup, it's probably he that has popularized this line, and it's very hard to get an attack against this line. So it doesn't look. It looks very passive with white, but in Bughouse it's a fine opening, and
Yeah, and more importantly for this particular matchup, it doesn't trade a lot of pieces early. And early piece trades are what Puressence wants and maybe needs.
I was expecting a convincing win, but not this convincing.
We will see. I think Caspiwins is going to be able to adapt at least somewhat, but maybe too late by the time he does.
Yeah. Gogo has a strong attack.
He does.
But no more drops. Rook c1, I guess. Jake also out of drops.
And Jake is actually down time here.
Looks like Puressence knows it.
Now Caspiwins is attacking.
f6. h6, same idea.
I think the Israelis might need more than a second or 2 of time to really control the flow of the game. If we see them get up, 5 or 10 seconds.
I don't think they will ever get up 5 or 10 seconds.
Well,
but this game is looking good for them. JK Jr. would probably need a rook for g8 to create play here. That's probably the best chance.
Yeah.
Otherwise, his position doesn't look so good.
G8 or G1?
I mean, he might play.
Yeah, I meant G1.
There's the queen.
He got the queen. Yeah,
So that's me.
yeah, they should have sat there.
Take a task. A task The test thinks that jkid is around the 2700 player, and Robbie GM thinks jkid is slightly overrated. Farragasm says, what is GoGoBurritos ranking in Bughouse? He played really well. He's gotten good relatively recently. So even as of like 2 months ago, he would have been maybe a 2300 player, and now he's a solid 2500 strength, I would say. Katask is saying GoGoBurritos is a 2700 player. Not sure I agree with that.
Oh, really?
But
no, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, he has improved a lot very quickly.
He's definitely improved a lot. But
I think what he has now is pretty accurate.
yeah, I would tend to agree. I think,
what should he be, like 29 something?
jkid's rating has also gone up quite a bit recently.
Yeah, like 400 points in half a year. Even more, maybe?
Yeah, but
there was one big spike.
jkid, he took many years off and then is coming back to Bughouse, and he is getting right back into it. But he's always been a very talented player.
Looks like jkid needs a pawn to put on e2 now. And there it comes.
Well, it may go on g2 if he could get another knight.
I don't think he can.
He's going for the e2 strategy.
Yeah, because now
that wins now with rook at g1.
Yeah, Caspi needed a rook drop to defend. Gogo's just going for random checks to stall.
Our score is now 7-0, favoring GoGoBurritos and jkid Jr.
Yeah, it's quite often in this series that if one team gets the advantage, it's just tough psychologically to be down many points and feel that you have no chance, like, and you keep losing, like.
Yeah.
So it's some days it just doesn't work.
I thought maybe Puressence was able to get a knight and a pawn, 2 pawns to get mate, but maybe they didn't have enough time to do that.
Yeah.
Gogo to rook f1, but he goes for the king.
Interesting. He sacked for the knight. Will the knight be decisive? If GoGoBurritos were safe, then pawn at g7 would be an interesting move. But f2 is quite weak still.
Well, you have king f1. I don't see actual trouble here for Gogo. jkid is crushing.
Yeah, that looks like mate.
Yep.
Bishop f5.
He could have just moved the queen back to f5, I think. Were there any wagers on the prediction market? Apparently, all of the points went in for jkid Jr. GoGoBurritos. Thank you very much to Icy Stun for the raid party of 3. Icy Stun is the defending champion at 4-player team chess. And he had an interesting stream going over some games.
Is jkid in trouble here? Queen b4 maybe? Takes h1, then takes e5.
This is certainly the largest lead on the clocks that the Israeli team has had so far in the match.
Yeah, it looks good for them this game. It feels like they're better on both boards.
Does a good attacking and defending move.
Yeah.
So jkid,
and they probably need like quite a big advantage, but it feels
I like queen f5 here.
The others are better.
So you're vacating a place for your knight to have some checks. I think he has to sack his queen here for defense.
Yeah. I thought
Now he
maybe
has
rook
some knight
d1
checks.
check keep the initiative, but Caspi's super safe.
I'm a Snuckle fan. Icy Stein asks who is the new player. None of these players are very new, but GoGoBurritos is probably the one who has
Puressence
played
made knight c5. Knight c5.
the least Bughouse. Our score right now is 8-0, favoring jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos.
8-1.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. 8-1. 8-1, favoring jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos.
Like bishop a3. Doesn't prevent the castle though.
Icy Stein went over the semifinal game for the 4-player chess world championship. I played some 4-player chess last night. It was a fun stream. So I am definitely outclassed at the openings.
Some potential trouble in the dark squares for jkid.
Yeah, that BD2 then back to F4 sequence. Did he get caught in a bad pre-move there? Unclear.
So the people in the commentary booth, we have Midnight Fox, we have Chokvos, and we have Naxon. I'm probably butchering your handles, but you can pronounce them correctly for the audience if you like.
Chokvos.
Chokvos.
Close enough.
Puressence might have an attack here. It looks like.
Yeah, but Gogo.
Oh, but he's mated now. Yeah, that was some.
Yep.
That was a mistake.
8-1.
I could have taken on f3, but it was still. Then it was a draw. So he should have defended one move instead of g takes f7. He could have put in on f2 and on g2, and he looked like he had the better position.
Our score is now 9-1, favoring GoGoBurritos and jkidjjr. And 16 is the magic number they're going for in this round robin portion of the Bughouse World Championships.
What can Puressence do with his queen?
I found a good move, but now Burritos need a bishop or he lose the rook.
Caspi probably taking the knight on f4 because it's too dangerous to keep on the board.
But that gives the bishop to Burritos.
Oh, true. He could wait. jkid and Gogo are probably faster.
But you're right, he will probably do that because he can just take a bishop anyway, somehow.
Puressence still has a very strong tech. Pawn would be really good for him.
Thank you to
also jkid's dark squares is also weak, so
thank you to Vice Peasy and Caitlin Crawley for the follows.
There he is. Yes.
So this is an enormous time advantage. We've seen 10 seconds right here.
And pressure on both boards.
I guess you just trade the queens like this. And now Caspi is mating.
Yeah, he threatens like rook h8 would be strong here. That's probably mating. And knight g5.
This is how they want it. Just both attacking, both winning material, both feeding each other's attack by winning material. That's the dream.
8-2.
Okay.
9-2, my apologies.
This line that Burritos plays here with d6 and e6. The theory is like if Puressence pushes like e5, he did e4, e5 there. The key for black is to sit and wait for a pawn to g4 and not play like Burritos did. That's just asking for trouble if he moves the. He played knight f6 to d5, but that's asking for trouble. And now you can see he got an attack there, so he should sit for
true.
Pawn to g4. That's a common Bughouse position.
Puressence is able to hold trades. Caspi should be pretty safe.
But this time it's jkid and Burritos with the large time advantage.
Yeah.
Puressence has a good attack
King
himself.
F8. Yeah, jkid is probably just going to mate here. That queen is going to be huge. Bishop G6 here, for example, looks ridiculously strong.
Or
Knight.
G6.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, also. Bishop G6 isn't check, but it does threaten Rook E8.
The task is suggesting Rook H8 for jkid.
Ooh, cute.
The idea is queen takes, knight check, knight takes queen.
Yeah, so much time.
Yeah, or knight back to E5, then he only need a pawn to mate.
Oh yes, that's true. Yeah,
Well,
so he
but
doesn't
the
even
knight
need to
really
take the queen.
well.
Oh, okay. But he has the knight already, so that's
or
mating.
this, yeah. If takes with the queen, then knight G6, drop at G6 is mating one.
This also
Next
mates
move,
with
queen
queen
F7.
in.
Yeah, that's nice tactic.
The score is now 10-2, favoring Jkid Jr. and GoGoBurritos.
Everybody on the attack.
Yeah.
jkid and Caspi very aggressive on both sides. We need King G1. Caspi's not getting a rook.
Jkid put in enormous pressure. Can't even take the knight because knight
He
would be
need a
mate.
rook. He need a rook F1 to mate now.
Well, after he traps his queen, his threat is also knight takes C3.
That's also, yeah.
But he needs to be safe first.
Looks like Puressence doesn't have a position where he can give much material to Caspi.
Yeah, Caspi's attack looks
Caspi
quite okay now with Bishop
Caspi
C1.
doesn't need material. Caspi needs... I'm sorry. Yes,
Bishop
Caspi does need
C8.
material.
Now he wastes his pawn. Could have had an extra pawn in this attack.
Also, that didn't look right. Instead of bishop takes b7, he had knight b8. Looked stronger. Oh, he's running out of pieces.
He needs a bishop and a knight, I think. But he's down 2 seconds.
Jkid Jr. has an army.
And Jkid got the rook, so he can't defend anymore. Rook f1 is too strong threat.
He even takes h1, a new pawn on g2, then rook h1.
Yeah, this is pretty much over.
This line is quite interesting that Jkid Jr. plays e4, e5, knight c3, and then d5.
Now
that's a pawn
Russia.
sacrifice that he is popularized, I think, and some others.
What's the idea to after, for example, 95?
The idea is if I used to play pawn down, but you get open lines for your pieces. I think the original idea is a lot of players, they play e4, d5, and then e takes d5, and then like knight f6, knight c3, and like that. And then you get to those kind of lines.
Just miss mating one? Oh no, he didn't have the knight. I bet. His opponent got the
Sacking
knight.
the queen. Wow.
So you get to those kind of lines if you take with a pawn. That's kind of the idea.
I like pawn at g3 here.
Okay. I was thinking d4 because it defends f4 and d4. But then you're still getting hit by knight g1. Not. It's possible we weren't talking about the same position at that time.
Probably.
I'm down at some moments. Yeah.
So they are also talking in the chess.com chat. Commentators. Trevor Lager and Die Blauesau say that Puressence doesn't do well unless he attacks, and time is a problem for that team.
Yeah. Some people are talking about lag, but at this point, you can just say, "Oh, sorry, I have lag. Let's play some other time." Or I know if I do X, I will have lag, so I don't do X. Like I go to this building and then play there, for example.
I don't think that's the thing. It's just that they are like not as fast, like they're older,
They did
not as
win.
fast.
So they did win that game. So that's 11-3 favoring jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos.
Doesn't have to be speed. It can just be skill.
I believe both of the teams are in voice chat.
Yeah, sure. Looks like Gogo has a very strong attack here.
He does, but he is getting sacked
No,
on.
he isn't.
And if Puressence would... Okay, Puressence potentially winning a queen. I don't know if he could even take the queen down.
How dangerous is Puressence attack? Is this dangerous enough to mate? Maybe no.
No, you should
Probably
be able
not.
to just run to c8. To b6.
I think he's potentially killing his partner too.
I don't think he did. Bishop takes c7 didn't look right. What was the problem with pawn e7 and d7? Maybe he lacked one pawn for that to mate.
Yeah, maybe. It does go
because he only
fast.
had 2 pawns. He needed 3 pawns to mate in that line.
Our score right now is 12-3, favoring GoGoBurritos and jkidjjr. The magic number they're looking for is 16.
The bishop f4 move looked weird. But it was fast, so can't be that bad if it's fast. Puressence going for the attack while sacking some stuff.
On jkid and Caspi's board, the move
good.
8h4 by Caspi, it's double-edged. Sometimes they push it to try to get an attack, but I don't like that move. I played it a lot, but I don't like it because it seems like it weakens the g3 and f2 square too much, like we see this game, and it almost never gets to h6. So a lot of people do that, but I think that's a big mistake to play h4 in most positions.
Yeah, like if you play d4, bishop f4, knight f3, and then maybe it works and you can sack on h7. But that's not the case at all here.
So the rook mates and I believe it's going to be forced with queen check.
Yeah, queen e8 is nice. It defends g6. it attacks e3, it can go to h5.
Right now is knight check.
Now he can force the rook with knight f2.
He's offering mate in 1. That was a clever response.
It was a nice trick to get some time. Maybe he'll play g6 next. Same idea. And it even gets a bit of an attack going. But he doesn't have the pawn yet.
So rook mates for Burritos. Maybe he can do a lot of checks and wait for the rook. Knight f2 is coming.
Going for flag, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are all going for flagging. Pure chaos.
A lot of chaos there. But Caspi Israel and Puressence were not as good at the time scramble.
Okay, it looks like Puressence just sacrificed a lot of stuff. Like a lot. Oh, I gotta go have fun with the rest of the match.
Well, thank you very much for the commentary from Sharkfos.
You're welcome.
Really
It was
appreciate
fun. See ya.
Yep.
So Puressence have got a position that he kind of wants. Now he can put pawns on h6, and so it would be very good for him if he just can get a lot of pawns here. That should at least secure him a draw. If he gets a good supply of pawns here.
And there are draws in Bughouse in this particular implementation on chess.com at least, which is a position repeated 3 times. Burritos is doing a good job defending here, though.
Yeah, he almost had mate there, knight g6, knight h7, and the king had to go to e7, and then, I don't know, that looked quite dangerous, but maybe it wasn't enough.
Hopper,
Yeah,
and
I think
Burritos
that's
defense.
the strength of jkidjjr and Burritos, that both of them are defending extremely accurately. I played them quite a lot the last months, and it feels it's same story every game. Like I get a good position, I get an attack, I play good moves, and they manage to defend every time. And I know if people would get such an attack against me, I would never be able to defend. So it's amazing. Like I think it's much more impressive to be a strong defender than a good attacker in Bughouse. Everyone can attack, but to defend, that's real skill.
I think it may be a bit of an overstatement to say everyone can attack, but yeah, at this high level, certainly there are a lot of good attackers, not as many good defenders. So Burritos would like a knight for h3. But he has continued to move to stay up time because his partner has a very strong attack. jkidjjr probably needs a pawn to mate. So he has mate with knight check, pawn in. Burritos needs to survive for 3 seconds. But this is a dangerous promotion here on c8. So if we were to see king to d7, then the pawn could move to e6. Oh, that was not accurate. I think Puressence.
Yeah, he had
okay. I guess
bishop
this
or maybe
works.
he made it anyway.
This works. He mates anyway, but as he should have drawn the king out so that the promotion could have been done without captures.
Definitely much better to get the queen in than a bishop.
I think Pure felt he had to pre-move the entire sequence. So he had to guess a little bit as to what Burritos was going to play.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, okay, Task is saying he liked that sequence better because it was forced mate with a pre-move.
Now jkid is in trouble here. Rook maybe rook g8. But he is such a good defender. He's probably calculated that he's safer. But for me, that looked super scary.
So this rook is forced. They were not up time.
No, queen h1 looks like interesting. It's probably mating. And then take on g2 and new knight to f3 and so on. So that's definitely mating. But it might mate Burritos also to give a queen like that.
The other possibility is to play
exactly enough for queen h1 with mate.
Yeah, if he had one more pawn, another possibility is bishop h2. He is doing your queen mate here. That's mate in one.
There he had, well, they were done time, but he had a chance maybe to bishop g2 there, Puressence, and mating after queen h4. That was a mistake, but he didn't see that.
Young UK Baller asks, what is the score? The score right now is 14-4. That's 14-4, favoring GoGoBurritos and jkid Jr. So if Burritos and jkid win the next 2 games, then they would win the match. Young UK Baller, do you know when the matches in the under 2000 section are happening? I did not see them on the schedule.
So Puressence had an interesting attack there. He had a chance to knight d3, knight c2, and king f1, and then bishop take g2. That looked quite strong. But no, I don't know if it was enough. But
So a knight mates for jkid with new knight at g3, followed by knight takes because of the pin.
Yeah.
But the Puressence has no knights on the board, and he probably will not drop them.
He shouldn't. Yeah, but I don't like the queen on the g1. That's just a very bad place for the queen. So and you see that now with pawn g3, and then the queen is like trapped, and it will be super dangerous when the pawn gets to g1. So it looks mating for jkid.
Yes. And not only is it mated, but his king is safe. This bishop is doing a great job defending as well.
So maybe knight f4 here is his best, and then you take with check, and then rook takes with check actually also. So it's a bit complicated, but that looks like his best here. No, it's actually double check. If he takes knight f4, then it's double check. Pawn takes g1 double check, and he has to take with the
King.
The king, because
bishop is going
it's
g2
double checks. Yeah.
Well, bishop is going g2, so he's not mated unless jkid gets another queen, which isn't possible. So he can live for a few moves.
Yeah, then he has bishop h2, king h1, and then bishop f4 looked mating. in that line.
Oh no, this isn't it. This is it. Bishop at h2. Probably mates for jkid.
It certainly draws.
Actually, he might be safe. Wow.
So
Wow. The
Burritos
fact that
might be made here.
Caspi lifted that is very
Okay,
impressive.
Puressence needs to pre-move, which I know is not possible, but ouch. Ouch.
Yeah, to survive with the queen on g1, that's impressive.
Very impressive. The score is now, what is it, 15-4? 15-4 favoring jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos.
This could be the ultimate game of the match.
I mean, I think they have good position on both boards though right now. Should be. This one should be close.
I'm not so sure the counterattack is coming now for Burritos. But that looked a bit dangerous, but maybe it's okay.
This move sequence from Puressence is something you see a lot with knight at h8 to deflect the rook, and then you get your queen in play.
How is queen d4 now? Does he have mate? He needs rook probably to mate. No, it's it's mate. Yeah. No, that's not mate.
Oh. GG's.
That is the end of the match. Let's see if we can get some of these players into a call for a post-game interview.
Hello, sorry, I was just passing by. I was not sure of which match the analysis was actually about.
We were covering the open section. Did you guys just have an under 2000 match, or is it yet to come, or what is? I did not see the under 2000 match on the schedule.
Actually, it's fixed for 20:30 GMT. That's in about 2 hours.
In 2 hours. Okay, I will cover that for sure then.
Yeah, but what match actually were you just analyzing?
What we were analyzing was jkidjjr and GoGoBurritos versus Caspi Israel and Puressence in the round robin section.
That was a fun match.
Thank you.
I don't know how interesting it is, but in the first game, I actually could not hear my partner at all. I thought I was just I thought he just wasn't talking. I had the thing muted or something. He could hear me though.
Okay, so let's see. Is Puressence in the server? I guess not. Okay. I'm gonna add a few people. See if we can get Blitzbullet in here as well. And Caspiwins. So do we have any questions for GoGoBurritos, who's in the call now? Okay, well, let me ask a few questions. So the story of this match, especially in the beginning, was speed, where you guys seemed to outspeed Caspi Israel and Puressence, and as a result, Puressence was not able to attack as he usually did. Well, not able to attack effectively because he was short on pieces. Is that something you guys consciously talked about as far as keeping up on speed to try to neutralize Puressence?
No, we didn't really talk about strategy for this match. Usually when I play Puressence, I do really well with or without trades. And if he gets a good position, I'll just tell my partner to sit pretty much. I didn't tell him to hold anything. Well, I did sometimes, yeah, a lot of the games. But I was okay with Queen, I think.
So early in the match, it looked like it was going to be just a blowout. But I do believe Caspi Israel and Puressence were able to adjust somewhat and pick up the speed. In the beginning, we thought that they would never be uptime the entire match, but then there were quite a few games where they were up 5, even 10 seconds. So they definitely got faster, or maybe you guys got slower. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
I think I was supposed to feed jkid some of those games, and jkid was sitting for pieces. Like the last game, I didn't know I could take queen for some reason, and I was supposed to. I didn't take it at first. I forgot H8 existed.
And so you and jkid have been practicing by playing even between your round robin matches, right? So last night, for example, I believe you played. Was it last night or the night before that you played against the Chicken 12 team? Two nights ago, you played against Chicken 12 team. And do you feel that match helped you warm up for this, or was it just for fun and had no effect?
It was just for fun. Well, it wasn't like just for fun. We were like actually playing, but like it was pretty much for fun. I don't think we were trying to warm up for this match.
So what team do you have yet to play in the round robin?
Low Plotkin and Grind. They're the last team. I don't know how close it's gonna be. I assume we're probably going to lose. Grind is scary, much stronger than me.
It's a very scary team in general. So you're both very fast teams. So it'll be anyone's guess who will be the faster team, but definitely be fun to watch. So let's see.
I have a question. I saw you were playing the old line with E6 and D6. You don't see that so much nowadays. Mostly people go for D5 or E5 in some variations. Was this just something you did against Puressence, or was it some kind of thought behind it, or is this your new main opening?
It's not my main opening. It's because if you saw the game before, like a few games when I was getting completely outplayed, he played knight f3, and I was playing my something else versus it, and I didn't really know what to do, and he was sack sitting, and I lost some pieces, so I decided to do e6 d6 because I don't think he was able to sack sit as much with that variation. I think it went well. E6 d6 used to be my main line, like mid 2020, and.
We were talking a bit about it because generally, if black gets in pawn g4 there, it's very good for black, and it's often quite risky for white to do an early castle like Puressence did in these games, and often you see people go for maybe bishop e5 instead to try to overprotect the d4 pawn. Like what do you think about those lines?
I think I'm not really sure about those lines. I just know that at g4 is really good for black if he can get it. Bishop b5, I don't really know that line that much. I don't know how good it is for white, but I'm not even. Did he play this game?
No, he often did bishop d3 and short castle, but that's then pawn g4 is quite dangerous if white castle too early, and you got good play in many games.
Yeah. I think that's why I play as white, but I just try to play fast and I don't know. I'm not really good at move quality, just speed. I'm not really good at opening. Sorry, I can't really. I think. Sorry, I'm bad at this.
Well, you guys played really well. Congratulations on your win. That was very fun to watch. And we look forward to the next round robin round. I'm trying to get Caspi Israel and Blitzbullet into the voice chat. They seem reluctant. They are talking about the match in Discord here. And they are all complimenting Caspiwins, saying that he was a very strong player. Caspiwins. So Blitzbullet says, I'm a big Caspi fan. Big fan since day one on Fix. Caspi says, trying to facilitate my partner. Couldn't make it work as much as I wanted to. And Blitzbullet says you're a strong feeder and Puressence is a good attacker. And then they're talking about some opening theory here. Blitzbullet is in the voice chat. Do you have some comments on the match that you just had?
Not too much. I think it was a good match. I think Caspi and Puressence played really well.
Well, congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
So Midnight Fox, did you have some specific questions for Blitzbullet? Oh, hey, Caspiwins.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much for joining the call here. That was a fun match to watch. I feel like you guys adjusted well. We were worried at the beginning that it would be more of a blowout because of the time differential. But you guys definitely you speeded up and got some great attacks, and we're on the comeback trail near the end of the series. So do you think that lag factored into the match as far as the Israeli location relative to the American servers?
So yeah, of course it doesn't help, but I mean it would be interesting to, of course, to play over the board. But I think the Blitzbullet and Burrito, they played really well, and so I think they were better than us today. I think we played much better than last week, than our first match, and at least I felt that we were in touch. We were like fighting in most of the games, and yeah, of course the lag is always a bit of an issue, but nothing we can do about it. So we try to do our best.
And have
I
you?
think lag was.
Oh, go ahead.
I think lag is a huge factor, just because they cannot bullet us. I don't think they win a single time scramble just because. I guess one, like, the ping is just so much higher than mine and GoGo's that it takes them 1 second to make a move, where it only takes me and GoGo like 0.1 second. And that's a huge factor because they never have the luxury of sitting it down.
So, Caspi, have you been practicing with Puressence between the round robin matches? Have you guys been playing in the random pool or high house games?
Yeah, we played in the random pool, and we did some matches today and earlier. But honestly, because all the teams in the top 4, they are very strong teams, it's much more difficult to prepare something specific. So we just try to play and to think of some game plans. But it's not like some players that they just play one opening and you can just try to fulfill their lines. And everyone can play a lot of things, and they play it really well. So we try to get in shape, and honestly, I felt kind of good after seeing the other match yesterday when Chicken and 12 team, they only won 16 against 7 because I saw Plotkin played so strong, so I felt a bit less bad after he completely crushed me.
Yeah, and have you been friends with Puressence for many years now? Like, so how long have you guys been playing together?
Yeah, for 12 years, 10, something like that.
Oh wow, that's a lot. So you guys are very comfortable with each other's styles then?
Yeah,
I'm actually here too.
You guys are next to each other then?
Yeah. This was our way to compensate on the lag, sitting together.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. That's great. So yeah, do we have some questions for Puressence here? Midnight Fox, do you have any questions?
I have a question, but it's for Blitzbullet and Caspiwins first. I saw a theme in your game that when Blitzbullet was white, you played D4, G3, and H3, which is a very solid line. And when Caspi was white, he played E4, and you often played E5. And I saw a theme that often Caspiwins tried to push with the H-pawn to create a weakness in Blitzbollet's solid position, but often Blitzbollet got the attack instead because H4 weakens E3 and so on. So what do you think about what that is? H4 like... is it worth it to weaken G3 to go for the H4? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ways to weaken like this position. Yasugi and Chicken often play the bishop to d6, knight e7, knight f5, and then pawn at h4, which is an alternative to just playing h5 right away. I think the biggest problem about h5 is you have to worry about my knight second on f7, and then you have to worry about pawn at g6. So it totally depends on who feeds who in this position. But since Puressence likes to, I guess, sack on GoGo a little bit, I had slightly more pieces to work with than Caspi did. But I think both methods are fine, whether it's h5 or like the bishop d6, knight f5, pawn at h4 method. It's just, I guess, I purely play this opening just so I can hold trades on GoGo's board because we have the luxury of being uptime a little bit, and if Puressence sacrifices on GoGo's board, then this h3, g3 idea, you can control trades really, really well for your opponent and partner.
Yeah, h5 or h4 with white is always a double-edged sword. I have some ideas against h3. I want to play h5 and pawn at g4, and when I play the e4, e5 line, I play h4 to put a pawn on g5 or play h5, pawn at g6, but it always weakens the squares. When white plays h4, pawn at g3, so it's becoming very double-edged, but I tried some games to be more aggressive. It didn't really work out.
So Midnight Fox, do you have any questions for Puressence here?
Yes, I like that that you often try to get the attack, and your play style is quite similar of mine. I think in some ways, and I know that I often struggle when my opponent plays 1d4 because it's just hard to get an attack. So I would ask you, do you have any ideas how to get an attack against d4, Puressence?
Only second on f2, actually, because there is no other way. I really thought about it, and there is no way to attack on black on solid d4 opening. At least not one that I found.
I tried to convince him to just play solid like Chicken and everyone. Just play d5, knight c6, bishop somewhere, e6, bishop d6, knight e7, play 20 move pre-move, and then after all the exchanges to get an attack. But I didn't convince him.
We both know it wouldn't work anyway.
Yeah, when you say you tried to convince him, were you trying to convince him like last night, or that you were trying to convince him 5 years ago? Like when was this?
Generally, all the time, but sometimes you have to accept.
It's twice a day for 5 years. Yeah, but this is my style. There is we had a lot of conversation over Baghouse, and which approach is better, and we always come to the conclusion that there is no better approach, but it's a matter of style and
but it's
the way you see the board.
It's definitely much more fun to play to try to give mate than to win pieces.
Yeah, I don't do it for fun. Also, I do it for fun, but this is the way my mind thinks. I can't change it. I'm 44 years old now. I'm the oldest player here. Fairly good reason to be slower than others, and it's really hard to change the way I'm used to play since I'm 10. So this is the way I play.
So this 10 years old is when you started playing Bughouse? Was that on fix or over the board
10 or 12,
or where?
Yeah. 10 or 12, something like that. I was exposed to the Israeli version, which is you can't drop a piece if it's mate.
Can you drop checks, or you can't drop checks?
Yeah.
But no mate.
Okay.
Even I remember night that when I saw it first, it was 30 years ago. You were not allowed to place the pawn on the 7 rank. This is where when I started to play a very naive game, you know, everyone's checking and waiting for pieces, and of course it evolved. But this is my focus is always on the opposite king. So this is the way I think.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely empathize with you that it's hard to change styles if you've been playing a certain way for 20 plus years. But it's a huge advantage players who can adjust and are more versatile in their styles, and it's something I aspire to that I'm not very good at. I'm sort of the opposite of you, that I don't sack very much, and it's and often my partners want me to be more aggressive. So it is hard to change your styles.
Yeah, I can relate, Chuck. I'm always with you.
And obviously, when I'm playing a lower opposition, I can do this, but against strong players, I will always lose the solidity of the position in some point. At some point, I would create a weakness and lose. This is what happens against such strong players as Gogo and others.
Yeah, we were talking about that Blitzbolt and GoGoBurritos, they're probably the two best defenders in the world, and yeah. It's amazing, Blitzbolt, like, because your G3 H3, when they start to take on G3, that if I had that position, I would get mated so quick. But you always seem to be able to defend or run with your king some way. So that's super impressive.
The other thing, we were also super impressed. I was it the very last game, or was the game before that where Blitzbolt was attacking Caspiwins, and he had a queen on, what was it, like H3?
It was on G1. It was Caspi had a queen on G1, and we said that he is for sure getting mated now.
Yeah,
but
and
some way he survived that.
There was a magical defense from Caspiwins, and although his partner ended up getting mated, I mean, I was astounded that Caspi lived through that and seemed safe at the very end.
It's good you remember, because I completely forgot. I have no clue what I'm talking about. I have to look at the games too.
It was the game where queen was on G1, I took your pawn at H2, then you played knight H6.
Ah, okay, and I have a knight on G4, yeah, and then I'm safe, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this.
And were you surprised by that as well, Blitzbolt, or did you think there was a defense? Were you surprised he was able to defend that?
I never thought I had mate.
Oh, interesting.
I was just trying to win pieces for my partner.
Okay.
Because Caspi would always just be defending in that position, and I would always just keep winning whatever's on G1, G2, and things of that nature. So I didn't care too much about finding mate, but I wanted to make sure my partner was safe first and foremost. And then it got into a time scramble, and I think time scramble is a little tougher, like I mentioned a little bit before, for non-American teams.
Absolutely. So Caspi and Puressence, you were not on voice chat because you were sitting right next to each other then?
Yeah, we had voice chat in real life, as you see.
And have you done that for your other matches as well, or is that unique to this one?
Since the quarterfinal.
So last match and this match.
I have a question. What city are you living in, and do you play over the board bug house, and do you go to the same chess club, and is there a lot of bug house players in your city?
Yeah, so the big secret is Israel is a very, very small country. So it doesn't really matter which city you live in, you're always half an hour away from each other. So yeah, we play from time to time, now less because of COVID, of course, at Fridays with friends. We have much fun.
And who are some other strong Israeli players that you play with regularly? Is Ekarf still over there, or is he come back to the US by now?
Yeah, actually, I don't really follow it. He wrote to me a few days ago. I think he's still in Israel, but I'm not sure. And there was a Y Scorpion. He's not so active these days. And some other players, Shaike, who played this tournament, is actually a promising young player.
So Shaika is not Y Scorpion then, because some people were speculating that he is. They're two different people.
No, it's yeah, it's the same. It's the his name is Shai, so I call him Shaike. It's the shortcut to his name.
There was some speculation, or well, Plotkin kind of wants to organize a countries match where like the US would have a team or two, and Canada would have a team, and Israel would have a team, and so forth. And they were speculating which country has the best teams. And whenever they talk about such things, they say Israel is definitely in the run-in to make a very good showing in such a tournament. You have so many strong players.
Yeah, we're definitely happy to play this tournament, and it seems like there will be more tournaments ahead. So it's really nice to have something like this.
There is an Israeli legend from Fix called Rubber Duck. Is he also playing with you?
I never met him. I only heard about him. And maybe it's better that I didn't meet him from the stories I've heard.
Do we have any further questions for our wonderful players here, or should we wrap up the interview?
Caspian, why are you so good?
What?
Why are you so good at the game?
That's a good question. I don't know, actually. It's just intuition, I guess.
Have you switched like exclusively to Bughouse, or do you still play quite a lot of chess?
No, I'm still trying to become a grandmaster in chess, but
Okay.
because of COVID, I didn't really play much this year. I'm still missing like 8 points to become a grandmaster.
Oh, do you have the norms?
Yeah, I have 3 norms.
Oh wow, that is fantastic. There's.
So if you know any Bughouse player who can lend me some points, you know.
I believe that.
I would definitely donate, but we need to be at the same tournament.
Yeah, and I believe we have another strong Bughouse player in that same situation, which is Hi Dude, otherwise known as now I'm forgetting. JDB, John Daniel Bryant. He has three GM norms and just needs to get his rating up a little bit. Last I checked. And Plotkin recently got his international master, and he is shooting for GM now as well, though he does not have any norms yet. We were talking in an earlier match. I believe Plotkin was actually born in Israel, so even though he is Team Canada, he could be claimed by Israel as well.
Okay, so we can take him for the team tournament for the Olympics, right? Like we recruited Ekarf. Yeah. He met a nice Jewish girl. He came here, and the rest is history.
Well, if you have enough Jewish girls, then maybe you can attract more Bughouse players and get a stronger team.
Yeah. Okay, we'll work on that also. We just need a server here, and then everything is good.
Just move the chess.com server. Yes. Well, I mean, we joke, but the free internet chess server, which is sort of the predecessor to chess.com, where a lot of the Bughouse players played, had a lag compensation. So it wasn't as critical where you lived in the world. Whereas here, because there's no lag compensation, it gives a strong advantage to players who actually live in the US and nearer to the server. So,
but how does it work for regular chess? So, for example, if they're just playing blitz like Nakamura and Giri and people like this, it's also very important, or it's only in Bughouse?
that is above my pay grade. I don't know. Do any others have opinions on that?
Yeah, I also never understood this leg thing. But it seems interesting to understand once and for all, like what's going on there. But yeah, that's besides the game itself, which is the most fun part and important part.
Yeah, Bughouse is a lot of fun for sure. Do we have any further questions? I see 12 Teen and Miss Fairy Queen have jumped into the call. Do you have any questions for the interview here? Let us know. Otherwise, we'll probably wrap it up. Okay, well, not seeing any. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you to all the players, and congratulations to Blitz Bulletin and GoGoBurritos for your win, and Caspiwins and Puressence for the wonderful games. You guys put up quite a show in there, and I believe it improved over last week's performance. So we're looking forward to the rest of the Bughouse World Championship here. We have one more match we have one more week of the round robin section with 2 matches in that week, and then after that we will proceed to finals, and I believe there's also a playoff for the 3rd versus 4th place team, which will determine how the money prizes are distributed. So none of the teams are out of the run-in for various money prizes. Also, there is an under 2000 section, and we have a game coming up at, I believe, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's in a little bit over an hour. I plan to cover that match as well. So tune in for that. Thanks to all the commentators, including Chuck Voss, who has had to step out, Midnight Fox, The Glorious Defense, and Maxon, who added to the commentary and made this a much more fun stream to me. So we are going to wrap up and look for someone to raid. I think I'm going to raid Joe Bruin, who is streaming Among Us right now. And I should mention, I'm going to try to stream Among Us later today, after we cover the under 2000 section. But Joe Bruin is a lot of fun. He's a chess streamer, but he streams some variety games, and Among Us is one of them. And he has a great group of chess players playing Among Us right now. Thank you very much also to Rosie Simmons for the raid earlier. I'm sorry I couldn't thank her contemporaneously in the voice chat, but we were sort of in the middle of an interview here. I thanked her in the text chat, but I really appreciate the raid. Rosie is a Just Chatting streamer who really loves chess also, and has raided quite a few chess players. And I subbed to her channel, so I gave her a shout out. You guys should check her out. Let me give her another shout out. And I hope everyone will have a great afternoon. Look forward to seeing you all in a little over an hour for the Under 2000 Bughouse World Championship match. Have a great day, everyone.